Hear me when I say this. Creating healthy personal boundaries is the key for protecting your well-being and fostering healthy relationships. Hi, I'm Keisa, life strategist, beauty coach, speaker, and author. And I empower women over 40 who are overwhelmed and stuck from the journey of divorce to reclaim their lives and thrive so that they may experience beautiful living. So, what I want to say first, before I get into establishing healthy personal boundaries, is that divorce was just a chapter of your life. That is it. It was just a chapter of your book of life. It is over, and it's not the end of your life. It is not the end. And that beautiful living still awaits you. And that you can have everything that you still want in life. But it all starts with you. It all starts with your mindset, and it also starts with you setting healthy personal boundaries, okay? And so you may be in a place where you say, I've never had to set a boundary, or I never even thought about setting a boundary. I don't even know where to start. Well, you're in the right place at the right time, because I want to share with you some nuggets and some tips to help you to start to set healthy personal boundaries and to help you maintain them, okay? And so the first thing I want to I know why I'm getting so tongue twisted in all of this, but the first thing that I want to share with you is that you need to self-reflect. So oftentimes we go through life and we do not self-reflect. Self-reflection helps us to exactly what the word says, reflect on things, maybe some past things that we need to reflect on in order for us to move forward, right? And then it also helps us to reflect on what our needs are in this season, what our needs are, what is it that I need? What are my values in this season? What are my priorities in this season, right? And so in order for you to move forward, it's very important that you understand and know what your needs are, what your priorities are, and what your values are in this season of your life. Once you are able to reflect on those things, write them down. The next thing you need to think about are, what are the things that makes me comfortable? What are the limits that I have in this season? What are the things that make me uncomfortable? And so those are all the things that you do when you are self-reflecting. Taking a moment to reflect on maybe some past things that you need to reflect on so that you know what not to do moving forward. Then what is it that you need in this season? What are your values in this season? Have they changed, right? And what are your priorities? And what are some things that makes you feel very comfortable? Because you need to know, like, these things make me feel comfortable. These things don't make me feel comfortable. So what limits do you need to put in place? That brings me to number two. Number two, you need to clearly define what your limits are, right? And so, once you clearly are able to define those, and you should be able to do that based off of your number one, your self-reflection, then you need to be able to communicate those boundaries, because you need to define what they are and then communicate those boundaries to the people or persons that need to know what the boundaries are. If you having to set boundaries for a particular person, a group of people, or just for yourself, between 7 and 8 o'clock, I don't want y'all calling me. That is my me time. My phone will be on do not disturb. I'm not going to answer you anyway, but that is a boundary that I'm setting. Whatever it is, right? You have to define what your needs are. I cannot define that for you. Only you know where you are. Only you know what you need in order to move forward. So you have to be very clear on what it is, what your boundary is, and what your limits are, and what your expectations are. And this helps people to understand what's acceptable and what's not. And that reduces misunderstandings, stress, anxiety, and all those things that come with when people are not clearly understanding what place they are in, okay? The third thing is you need to set consequences. So after you self-reflect on what your values, what your priorities, and what your needs are in this season, what your limits are, what makes you, comfortable, uncomfortable, and then you clearly articulate that to the people who needs to know it, then you need to set consequences for those boundaries. So this is what will happen if you cross my boundaries. If you do not adhere to the boundary, these are the consequences. And consequences are very important to have, because when you don't have consequences in place, people are going to try you, likely. Oh, girl, she's just playing, or you know, ex may be like, oh, whatever. I know she just in her feelings right now. I give about a week or two, and I'll be back. We'll be fine. I'll be back, able to do X, Y, and Z. And when you don't have a consequence in place, so when they try you, you give them, you know, they already know what that consequence is, and you have to reinforce it. You have to reinforce the consequence. Seriously, I don't know what that's going to look like for you, but you have to reinforce the consequence. Like, for instance, maybe a boundary is don't call me after 7 o'clock. And they used to calling you at 10 or 11 o'clock, and you don't want them calling you after 7. And they do it. Maybe a boundary is you get blocked, and I don't talk to you no more. I mean, I don't know. You know, that may be a little extreme for some people, but I've had to block for my own sanity. I've had to, and I'm not one to block people. I don't subscribe to it at all. I don't feel like I should have to. But when you start making me feel uneasy, when my stomach start to cringe and feel butterflies in it and uneasy, because when you call me, it makes me feel uneasy, then I have to take the necessary measures. And that might be, I have to block you for a period of time. And it may not be forever. I've never blocked nobody forever, right? But it may be a period of time where I have to do that. Now you are forced to have to, that person is forced to have to communicate to me through a third party, because I can't deal with you right now, right? And so that was something that I needed in the moment for myself, for my well-being. I didn't like the way I felt, right? And so I made a decision to block the number for a period of time until I got to a healthier place where I felt like I could be okay when that person calls my number, right? And so what is it that you need to do, you know? And that was a consequence. They, you know, you keep calling me with foolishness, you won't get blocked. So that was the consequence for me. Like, and what is the consequence for what it is that your boundary, you know, that you have to put in place? You have to communicate those things, right? And so establishing consequences reinforces the importance of your boundaries, for one. And then it also encourages respect. And that's, at this point, you know, you want respect. You want healthy emotional well-being. That's what you're striving for. And anything or anybody that gets in the way of that has to be dealt with accordingly with boundaries, okay? The next thing is you have to learn to say no. No is a beautiful word. It's not being mean. It's not, you know, just being spiteful. No is what you may need. You don't have to say yes to everything. A lot of you are used to being people pleasers, so this may be a little difficult for you. But I'm going to need you to really practice saying no. No to your ex, no to the children, no to the parents, the siblings, friends, whoever it may need to be. Okay? It is okay to say no to invitations that will put you in a place. Going to that event will make you feel uneasy. It's okay to say no. It's not about hurting somebody's feelings, because if you go, then you putting yourself in a situation where you're gonna be like, I shouldn't have gone, I shouldn't have did this, I shouldn't have did that. Now you feeling all emotional and all over the place when you could have just said no and let them deal with that. Okay, chances are they'll be like, okay, cool, and keep them moving, right? And you live on to see another day without those unwanted emotions. So learn to say no to invitations that you don't want to be a part of, to things that you don't want to do, to people that, you know, forever calling on you to do something, whatever. No is a beautiful word. And so I need you to get it in deep down in your vocabulary and learn to say no before you say yes. How about that, right? Practice saying no without guilt. Saying no is a very powerful way to establish boundaries, okay? So I want you to start practicing saying no. And no doesn't mean that it's a no forever. It may just be in that moment. You decided from 1 to 2 o'clock that you was going to have some me time. And then at 12:55, somebody calling you, asking you to do something. No, I cannot do that for you. But if you call me around 2:15, I may be able to help you with that if you still need me at that time. Just that simple, right? And so it is okay. It is about you, and it's okay to make it about you. This is your season for healing. It is your season for growth. It is your season for rediscovering who you are in this time, right? And no is going to be a beautiful word to use. The fifth thing is I want you to do some regular check-ins with yourself. So I need you to assess where you are with your boundaries. Are they still needed? You know, when you're checking in, be like, okay, I don't need, I'm in a good space. That don't have to be a boundary no more. I know I can deal with that now. Before I wasn't in a healthy space. So it was a trigger for me. It was making me feel uneasy. Now I'm healthier. I'm a little bit more I'm in a lot better place right now. And so that boundary is no longer needed. And you can communicate that as long as we can stay here. We're good. You don't have to worry about me doing that. That boundary has been lifted or what have you. Or you may need to reinforce something or add something to it, right? So I want you to regular check in with yourself so you can assess your well-being and adjust boundaries as needed, right? Life circumstances change. And when things change, a boundary may or may not be needed. And that's okay. And that's beautiful either way. And so make sure that you are, regularly doing check-ins to see where you are and assessing the situations. The next thing is seek support. Have a healthy support system, right? You need everybody on team for you to heal, right? I did. I had a lot of people on the team, okay? I had a lot of people. I didn't have a Keisa, nobody who had gone through a divorce. My support, they were all married, never experienced a divorce, and they and I couldn't find in the moment nobody who could understand the feelings that I was really truly feeling. But they were there and they were doing the best they could as friends to support me. And I wanted, they did a wonderful job considering they could not really understand fully the pain that came with that, right? And so along the way, it's going to be important that you communicate your boundaries even to your friends so they can hold you accountable for withholding those boundaries so that you won't have loose boundaries when you set boundaries with people. We don't want loose boundaries. Those are just things that you put out there and then you let people violate them, and then you keep repeating it and you're not really reinforcing it, and then people feel like, oh, okay, she says these things, but I can do it anyway, and nothing ever happens, right? Those are loose boundaries. So make sure that you share what your boundaries are to your support system, so that way they can help you hold you accountable for keeping your boundaries in place. The last but not least is practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Learn as you learn and set boundaries. It is very challenging setting boundaries with people that you love. Okay, it is very challenging, but you can do it. Especially if you're not used to it. So I want you to practice self-compassion, and I want you to practice your I want you to celebrate your progress along the way. Okay, and so don't forget to subscribe. I want you to comment below, what it is that you, what boundaries you are setting, where you are on this journey post-divorce. What is it that you need? I want to hear from you so I can know how to support you on your journey. Share this with a friend that you may know that can use this, and keep coming back for more. Until next time, know that beautiful living awaits you.